There were quite a few standout moments from last night's debate. The best were when the mute button worked, but it was all too rare, all too rare. Others, though, we're gonna start to go through. And the first I thought was an amazing moment where Joe Biden points out that Donald Trump famously said he takes no responsibility for COVID. You know, that pandemic that's still going on. We're gonna be talking about it later. And here is how Donald Trump decided to finesse that earlier answer.
Excuse me, I take full responsibility. It's not my fault that he came here, it's China's fault.
I mean, that's just amazing. Like, I take no responsibility, that is peak Trump. I take full responsibility, it's not my fault. That's all that we've gotten. 220,000 US deaths has gotten him to briefly pretend to take responsibility before immediately saying that it's not in fact his fault.
Yes, it's like when someone says, I am so sorry that you misinterpreted what I said. Like, you did say sorry, but that's not the point of how normal people say sorry. The point is to express some kind of contrition and when you have failed someone. And when you say, I take responsibility, he knows he gets in trouble for saying he doesn't take responsibility. Finally, that's gotten through to him. So he thinks the big pivot, his big moment, and it's so ironic in a time when he tries to go after Biden for pivoting during a debate toward kitchen table issues. Trump got mad at Biden for that. But for Trump to then think that he has really nailed it by saying, I take full responsibility, it's not my fault. That is the height of stupidity.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's a height that has Trump, he's just sitting up there screaming down his little whiny comments to us because he continues to attempt to effectively avoid responsibility for the things he continues to say by constantly referring back to a thing that he sort of misstates that Dr. Fauci said. So, and by the way, we're gonna play this video for you, but the thing that bothers me the most, I don't know if everyone watching this felt the same. He says the exact same things all the time. Same intonation, same pace, the same exact stupid, whiny, responsibility avoiding points. And here is one having to do with Dr. Fauci and what he was saying in the early days of the pandemic.
He did say, don't wear masks. He did say, as you know, this is not going to be a problem. I think he's a Democrat, but that's okay. He said this is not going to be a problem. We are not going to have a problem at all. When Joe says that, I said, Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm not knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew what this thing was. Nobody knew where it was coming from, what it was. We've learned a lot. But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also said, if you look back, exact words, here's his exact words. This is no problem, this is gonna go away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes. He happens to be a good person.
Okay, none of that makes sense. Yeah, none of that makes sense. It's not really what Fauci said. Fauci said very early on, everybody shouldn't rush out and buy N95 masks. And he says now, whether this is accurate or not, he says the reason he said that was that he was worried of shortages. There were in fact shortages, so whether he's being honest or not, it was a wise thing in theory to worry about. But the fundamental issue with this is Trump saying Dr. Fauci got it wrong 8 months ago is not an excuse for him to continue to get it wrong today and tomorrow and the next week and the next month. And he really does think that it is. He thinks you can't criticize me for being wrong right now as I'm speaking about masks because the guy you like was wrong about it more than half a year ago. But he's a whiny little greasy weasel, and so he thinks that that does absolve him of his current responsibility, but it doesn't.
It is such an underachiever's mindset that he just he just thinks by getting one thing right ever, he is the expert on it because he doesn't want to actually succeed. He wants to be perceived as succeeding. He wants to do the least amount possible where he feels comfortable claiming credit for a win. Now, what has panned out in many polls, especially specifically about handling the coronavirus, is thank God Americans aren't buying it. Like in polls, by massive margins, people think that Biden is better on handling the coronavirus. And Trump, it's specifically for things like this. Things like you saying Anthony Fauci, who is known to be an expert, and he says he's a Democrat, but he's worked under Republicans and Democrats under their administrations. Those are people who do have credibility. It's proven that they have credibility. Now, Trump, instead of just doing the things credible people would do, would rather not work, not change, not admit that there is better work to be done by changing, and then instead blame Fauci and do this pathetic grasp at Fox News hosts to try to further this narrative that he thinks is just an easier way to go about it, which is attacking Fauci and hoping that Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity will follow suit. And it's proven that that approach does change how people view reality. Because and there was a poll recently that came out, and he used the same strategy. He's using currently the same strategy on mail-in voting, and wouldn't you know it, a majority of Fox viewers, which is disproportionate when it comes to comparing that to other people who watch other outlets. Fox viewers believe that there is impropriety in mail-in voting because that's exactly Trump's approach.
Exactly, and on top of everything that you just said, he still doesn't get or just can't make the switch over to understanding that if he were to actually take it seriously and do even a piss poor job on the pandemic, it would benefit him politically. Forgetting obviously that it would be the moral thing to do, it would actually save lives. It would benefit him too, and Fox News would pivot. Like if he suddenly was taking it super seriously, Laura Ingraham would start to pretend to take it super seriously. That would not be that difficult, but he's not going to do it.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.